Welcome back to the channel. In today's episode, we're going to build some script automation in Sparx using AI. So let's get started. So we're in my learning project and we are on version 17.1 of Sparx, build 1710. And I wanted to preface that things may look differently if you're in an older version, but they operate exactly the same. I've been scripting for well over 20 years in Sparx, and the tool really hasn't changed that much except to get more stable. Let's go ahead and open up our diagram. We've already created a diagram called My First Script Using AI, and we've added two requirements. Requirements are mission critical to understanding what you're building in any software exercise. So we have two requirements. We have a feature and a requirement. Doesn't matter which way you go. What's most important is you understand what your nouns are and you understand what your verbs are, as well as adverbs when you're creating a requirement. In this particular case, in the requirement, we're using user story form with acceptance criteria. And in this particular case, we're just using a simple requirement. But the bottom line is, especially when working with AI, that you have the proper nouns and verbs to get AI to understand exactly what you want. So in our case, we have an actor, we have an action, and we have an achievement. In a user story form, it's very clear to see that. So let me just bring my notes in here. So we have two actors, we have the tool, and we have the human. Then we have the action, very clear what technology you're using, and that in applies release as a tag value property with today's date to an element in a diagram. This is very important when you're scripting because AI needs to understand where you're running the script from and what you're running the script to. And then the achievement is important for testing reasons so that we understand what the element or when the element is released. Now, again, I'm in the Sparx default factory layout where I have browser on the left, properties in the upper right, and I have notes in the lower right. We need to get to the scripting window or tool. And to do that, we go to the Execute tab, and then in the All Windows panel, and an older version, the All Windows panel has Execute in it, but in Sparx 17, All Windows was moved to this tab. We're going to select it, and we're going to go to the source code category, and we're going to choose Scripting Library. And in the default layout, it pops up at the bottom. Now, you've learned scripting in this channel, but we're going to do this from scratch. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to use this tool to create a new group. And you can choose to run the script from the browser right over here, or the diagram or other areas. We're going to run it from the diagram, and it creates a new group, which we're going to name Diagram Element Script Dev or Development. And then in this particular script, and let me move the window right here. I usually like to have it over in the right, but I'm going to leave it in the center, this part of the demo. So in this, we are going to go to this one, New Script, and then New VBScript. And then in this, we're going to name this Assign Release Tag, and then hit Enter. And then we're going to bring it up, and it loads the default script that Sparx provided to you as a tutorial or starter base. Now I'm going to move the scripting window over to Properties where I like to have it. And there we go. It's over here right now. Now we're going to go back to our requirement, and I'm going to go back to the requirement in this form. And we're going to use this requirement here with some simple user story outline, actor action, and achievement with acceptance criteria. I'm actually going to copy the whole thing. You could just copy this, but we're going to do it in this form and see how AI reacts to it. So we're going to bring up ChatGPT, ask anything. And what we're saying is we want Chat to create a VB script for release as a tag value. So let's go ahead and hit enter. And ChatGPT right now is going through and creating a VB script, gives you the overview and then the script itself. So it's writing this out using Visual Basic Scripting, VBScript, and in a moment it will be done. You can follow it if you want, and there's your end tag right there. So what we're going to do is we're going to copy this script, and then we're going to go over to our blank script or new script. I'm going to hit Control A to select everything, basically to delete it. And then I'm going to paste in this new script, and I'm going to hit save. Let's go back to start, and we want to add in a toolbox. And now we have a toolbox here. We're going to add in a class element. Just leave it class 1. We're going to right click on this, specialize scripts, and then here's our new script, assign release tag, and hit enter. And it lets us know when it is done, it was a success. So then what we can do is go to properties and then go to tags. And now we have a tag for release with today's date. Let's go ahead and close our script. Let's go back to our scripting tool, and you can see VB next to it. Makes it very clear this is a VB script. A better naming convention is literally to put VBS or VBScript dash assign release. Let's create another script. And in this case, what we're going to do in the same group, we're going to add a new JavaScript. And then we're going to give it the same name, but this time we're going to go JS dash assign release tag, and then hit enter. I'll go ahead and open this up, and we get the default starting script that Sparx provides you. Let's go back to our requirements. This time we're going to use the feature for JavaScript assign release tag. Let's double click this and open this up, and let's copy these nouns and verbs. So I'm going to copy this over to ChatGPT. Go ahead and paste that in here and then hit enter. And so now it's going through and it's creating a JavaScript for doing exactly the same thing. So a good way to learn JavaScript if you're not comfortable with it, especially when working in Sparx. And it is done. So what we're going to do is copy this, and then we're going to go back to our tool. And then in this, we're going to Control A, select everything, delete, or just paste over the top of it. And then hit save, hit close, and let's bring in a different type of element. And in this particular case, let's see, you have UML. I want to bring in a business process. Yeah, I want to bring in a business process. Let's see what it does there. Right, so we're going to bring in business process just like that. And I'm going to, at the top level, there's a diagram underneath this. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to right click on here, go to specialize scripts, and now we've got JS assign release tag. Let's go ahead and select it. Right, so then we're going to go to properties, and we're going to go to tags. And here we have the release tag value property with today's date in it. If you're having problems, you can go back to your requirements, and you've learned this in the channel where you can go to scenarios. We have a scenario we've already built for release tag added, and we can go to the structure editor here and go through the steps to make sure that it's working how we want it to work. Just like in any software code, we can generate from scenarios an activity diagram. I'm going to overwrite the existing one that we've run. It's just going to be the same thing where it's going through, create an activity diagram and goes through the flow. So if you haven't selected an element, it's going to throw an error. No element is selected, and the error message is presented to the user. So the other thing you can do when you're in Scenario Builder is you can generate test cases, an internal test case, just like you can in code, where you can run the test case and go to construct whoever your testers are. Because when you get into a real working environment, you're going to want to make sure that everyone understands how things should work. This is the start through the results in the end. And your testers can come in and put out their test results. Of course, you can put in your acceptance criteria from your user story if you want here, or just put in acceptance criteria and run a test, whether it passed or failed, and you can work through your code. I hope the session was helpful for you. You're going to be building a lot of scripts that are going forward. Get a good naming convention. Usually your developers either are working in VBScript or they're working in JavaScript. Make sure you've got a good naming convention. It's very easy to rename your scripts any way that you want as you're building them. You're going to get a lot of scripts. I mean, probably too many. So have governance in place. Make sure you're running through a staging, a development, and then a staging environment where governance can look over before you release to production for your other teams. Because again, you're going to be getting a lot of scripts. Some of them are going to start stepping on each other and being duplicates. So the worst thing that can happen is you're creating scripts that go through and do all of the elements in a diagram. And if you do that wrong, you're going to be very sad. So make sure that you're baselining prior to doing anything with your elements, making changes. That way you can fall back on them. So if this was helpful for you, please leave a like down below. And if you're not already subscribed, hit that subscribe button and let's keep up together. And until that next episode, happy modeling.